Hello friends, in this session we are going to talk about raster layers, and to better understand the raster layers we need to get into details of two types of raster layers. One is tiled and second is untiled. In the previous session we have added OSM layer into our web page, and that was added through a tile approach. So let us understand what is tiled and what is untiled. So when we talk about tile layers, map client, which is open layers in our case, it makes a request to the map server, and at the time of making request it provides the extent of entire view, and the map server accepts the request and prepares the map. Because it is a tile kind of a request, map server responds with a series of square tiles to fill the entire view. So this is what happens in the tile kind of a request. So the response from the map service, multiple images that are splitted into the small square images. Whereas in case of untiled layers, map client makes the same kind of a request, providing extent of the entire view. But here in this case, because it is untiled, map server responds with a single image which fills the entire view. So rather than providing series of square small tiles, here it provides a single image which is big enough in size compared to the tiles. So this is how the response from the map server differs in case of a tile and untiled image. So to better understand, let us go to the coding part and let us see how it actually works. So let us come back here. This is where we ended up last time. We added a couple of controls, and this is how our page was looking like with multiple controls. So let us get rid of some of the controls and the part which is not required for this exercise. So I'll be removing this control related coding, and so we ended up with the basic map. Let me save it and let us see in the map. So this is the basic map we have. We have OSM layer, OpenStreetMap layer displayed on the map, and believe me, in the code, see, we have requested the layer in the form of tiles. So whenever we are displaying the map, open layer is making a request to OpenStreetMap in the form of tile request, and the response that is coming is also in the form of tile. So if you see, when I pan it, the map is getting displayed in the form of small square tiles. So let me do some zoom in, and when I zoom out, you'll be able to see that the response is coming in the form of tiles, and it is filling up the screen. Okay, now let me show you in the code. We will make two type of requests now. Here we'll write the code to display two type of the layers. One is tile layer and second one is image layer. So at this moment I'll be making request to the geo server, which is a map server installed in this computer. But don't worry about using the geo server and WMS. Don't fall into those jargons. For time being, we will focus on tile and untiled layers. So let me write up the code for that. So I'm creating a variable and I'm calling it a tile layer. So new OL dot layer dot tile. So I'm making a tile request. Now in source I have to provide new OL dot source dot tile WMS. So I'm requesting a WMS map in the form of a tile. Now in this case I have to provide a couple of inputs. So first input that I have to provide is URL, and second input I have to provide is params. Now from where this is coming, let us see the documentation for this. So when we go to ol.source.tilewms, you can see here which are the inputs required. So one thing is that we said is the URL that we have to provide. This is the URL, and the second thing that we have to provide is params. So we are providing the parameters. So let us provide that. So here URL, I am having a GeoServer locally installed in my computer. So URL is HTTP localhost. This is the port, GeoServer, and WMS. And in params, let us see what we have to provide. In params, we have to provide the layers which we want to display. And one more thing that we have to provide is a server type. In our case, it will be GeoServer. It can be map server also, or any other source from where we are getting the WMS services. So we'll copy this server type. Server type is GeoServer. So let us copy everything so that we don't make mistake. And for params, I am providing these layers as a parameter, and I want to display this layer, and I am asking it to be tiled. So let me remove this. So now this is done. We have created a layer, WMS layer. Now what I'll do is I have to add it to map. So add layer, tile layer. So this is the layer we have added. Now what we want to do is we want to add one more layer, that will be image layer. So I'll write the similar code. I will call it image layer, and it is new.ol.layer.image. So rather than tile, this time it is image. Again, I have to provide the source. It is new ol.source.image WMS. So this time it is image WMS rather than tile. Again, the parameters will be same. So I'm just copying it from the top. Here, only thing I want to remove is this style true. Same layer I want to display, and I will add the layer to the map. So I'm taking the advantage of this code, copying and pasting. So we have added two layers, tile layer and image layer. Ultimately both of them are the same layer. So for time being, what I'm doing is I'm commenting this. So first of all, we'll have only tile layer added into the map. I'm not adding image layer at this point in time. Now let us open up the map. So see over here, in addition to OSM layer, now we have US state boundaries. Now this is a tile layer, so you can see it is displaying data in the form of tiles. You can see as soon as I zoom in, gradually it is creating the tiles and populating, so it is giving me a better performance. Now let us see in the background how it is happening. So if I take you to the background, so right click and say inspect, and then when we go to the network, you can see now when I am doing panning and zooming, it is requesting the tiles. So you can see it has requested this tile. This is the another tile. This is the third tile, fourth tile. So gradually these tiles are requested to the server. Map server is providing these tiles and it is populated here. This 25 and all, they are the tiles of OSM layer, and these are WMS, they are the tiles of our state boundary, US state boundary. So if I do panning, zooming, it will make those kind of a request. All the tiles will be requested. You can see this is a blank tile maybe for this area, but this will have some data, AZ and NM. You can see this portion. So these are various tiles it is requesting. Some tiles can be blank as well. So those will be transparent tiles. You can see Texas. So this portion it is requesting, and then NM and Texas, so this portion. So it is basically getting the response in terms of a tile, because in this code we have added this tile layer, and that is the layer we have added into the map. Now let me comment this portion and add image related tiles. So this is image request. Now let us see how it behaves. So let me save this code. Let us go back to the map, and now you can see over here we have United States. And when we see in the network, this 1 2 3 4 all are OSM related tiles, but this is a, you can see a single image containing entire data. So this is a image request which was sent to the server by OpenLayers. Server has given the single image filling the entire view, so other portion is transparent and only this portion is containing data. Similarly, it has got a different image. You can see now I will perform a single zoom in. I perform a single zoom in. So this is the image that we got. Let us see at the bottom what we have got. So this is the single image that we got. So I hope you are able to understand, like as soon as I make various kind of a zoom in and zoom out activity, system is responding with a single image, because here in this code we are making an image request. So it is not a tile request. So image will be served by the map server, and it is a single image filling the entire view. You can see. So when I perform zoom in, zoom out, every time server will take it up as a fresh request. So let us understand the pros and cons of tiles and untiled. But I hope by now you understand what is a tile request and what is an untiled request or a image request. Now you should be able to judge like what can be advantage or disadvantage, but let us understand one by one. So here what happens is, in case of a tile, because system is responding with a series of square, it improves the rendering speed, because it is not required to wait for all the tiles to come and then only display. It is displaying the tiles as and when they are receiving. So visually it looks pleasing, and the rendering speed also improve because the size of small tile is lesser compared to a big size. Here the opposite is true. It takes relatively longer time because it is waiting for the single big image to be represented from the server and then display it, render it on the map. So this takes little bit longer time. This takes relatively slower time. What is next? Here you can see tiles can be pre-generated to improve the user experience. Now you would have seen that tiles are at a specific level. Let me take you to the web page. Here when we go to the Google, you can see I am opening this Google page, and it is at a zoom scale 5. Now when I perform zoom in, this is at a zoom scale of 6, 7. So as soon as I perform zoom in and zoom out, these are the various zoom scales for which tiles are generated. Similarly, in our case, tiles are for a particular level. It can be from 1 to 21, 25, whatever be the number, but tiles are generated at a particular scale. So in case of a tile layer kind of a request, we can pre-generate this tile at the server end, so that when the client requests the tiles, they are already generated. So the system performance again improves. First of all, rendering speed is better. Plus, when you have pre-generated tiles, so system does not have to do the processing every time. It can simply serve the pre-generated tiles. So again, there is a system performance improvement. Here, in case of untiled request, system is not pre-generating the tiles. It is taking all the request on demand and generating tile as and when it is requested, because there is no fixed zoom scale. User can request tile at any level. Now this can be an advantage or disadvantage, both the sides, because there are fixed set of tiles at every zoom scale. So if user is by chance zooming in between the two scales, like for example, in this case there is a 7, and if I perform zoom in, there is a 8 scale. But what if user is zooming it to 7.5? What will happen? Because there are pre-generated tiles at a fixed scale, for in between levels, system will render the existing tile and it will adjust. So there will be somewhat unpleasant visual effect when it is a tile layer. But here in this case, system is generating all the tiles on demand as in when they are requested. So this will have comparatively pleasant visuals compared to tile layer. So that is the advantage in case of a untiled layer. So it is visually smooth and eye pleasing, whereas in case of a tile layers, usually sometimes they are not high quality, especially at the edge of the tile. So there are various pros and cons, and user have to select the layers, select the type of a request or type of a map they want to generate based on the system requirements. Like if the data is continuously changing, then you would prefer untiled layer, because you cannot pre-generate, because data is continuously changing. So you have to delete the existing generated tiles and you have to regenerate. If the area is small, then you can go for untiled request. If the area is large and there are multiple number of users, then you can go for a tile kind of a layers. So there are always pros and cons, and user have to select considering the visually pleasant effect, system performance, number of users, volume of the data. Considering all these aspects, user have to select whether they want to go for a tile layer or an untiled layer. So I hope this thing makes it clear what is tile layer and untiled layer. With this, fundamentally understanding. We will see in the next session how to add different types of layers. There are many sources of layers. They provide web mapping services. They provide map servers with pre-generated tiles which we can add it to open layers. So we will keep it up to this point for raster layers, tiled and untiled. In the next session we will see how to add different type of a layer onto the open layers. Thank you.